Today I'm going to discuss the most important topic, Elizabeth literary period. Elizabeth period is all belong from the 1558 to 1603. Elizabethan literature body of work written during the reign of Elizabeth I of England. Probably the most splendid age in the history of the English literature. During which such the writer as Sir Philip Sidney, Edmund Spenser, Roger Ascham, Richard Hooker, Christopher Marlowe, and William Shakespeare flourished. So basically, in this paragraph, we comes to know that how the Elizabethan literary period is all belong to the great writers and great fictions, novels, and great works. Elizabeth literary body of work written during the reign of the Elizabeth I of England, 1558 and 1603. Probably the most splendid age in the history of the English literature, during which such a writer as Sir Philip Sidney, Edmund Spenser, Roger Ascham, Richard Hooker, Christopher Marlowe, and William Shakespeare flourished. So here we have some important questions related to the Elizabeth period. The period of the origin of the modern English prose was Renaissance period. A basic characteristic of the Elizabethan prose is the nearness of their prose to poetry. The prose writer of the Elizabethan period were John Lyly and Sir Philip Sidney, two important writers who, among others, influenced Elizabethan prose were Malory and Hakluyt, who wrote a great prose romance, Morte d'Arthur, dealing with the romantic treasures of the Middle Ages. Malory Voyages describe the sea adventures written in the simple and unaffected directness by Richard Hakluyt, the writer of which period was conscious of only that he had something to tell that was worth telling Elizabeth. The writer of which period was conscious of only that he had something to tell that was worth telling Elizabeth period. First author who wrote the prose in the manner that the Elizabethan wanted was the Johnny Lyly. Euphues was a contribution of which Elizabethan prose writer Lyly, which maxims and phrases were freely quoted in the court and the marketplace. Euphues. So these are the most important questions. Here I am going to repeat them in order to make you understand. The period of the origin of modern English prose was Renaissance period. A basic characteristic of the Elizabethan prose is the nearness of their prose to poetry. The prose writer of the Elizabethan period were John Lyly and Sir Philip Sidney, two important writers who, among others, influenced Elizabethan prose were Marlowe and Hakluyt, who wrote a great prose romance, and Morte d'Arthur, dealing with the romantic treasure of the Middle Ages. Malory. The Voyages describe sea adventure written in the simple and unaffected directness by Richard Hakluyt, the writer of which period was the consequence of only that he had something to tell that was worth telling. Elizabethan period. First author who wrote prose in the manner that Elizabeth wanted was John Lyly. Euphues was the contributions of which the Elizabethan prose writer Lyly, which maxims and phrases were freely quoted in the court and the marketplaces, is Euphues. So these are the most important questions which is related to the Elizabeth literary period. Hmm? and this period is very this period is very important according to the examination point of views, and there are great fictions and great novels and prose, poetry, dramas, and the great writer and great critics were apparent in this period 15 to p which is 1558 to 1603. So these are the most important questions which is related to the Elizabethan literary period. So I hope you like this video, which is very important according to examination point of view. Thank you so much.